Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is also fantastic, and maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who've been following this channel for a very long time, I have always opined or maintained that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence, and that everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. Nothing in politics just happened for the sake of it. Yesterday, William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, was in Narok County. Rigathi Gachagua was not in Narok. Today, William Ruto was in Lang'ata constituency in Nairobi. Again, Rigathi Gachagua was missing in action. Instead, yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua was in Isiolo. Today, Rigathi Gachagua was in Meru. And later on, he ended the day in Nyeri. Why do you think Rigathi Gachagua boycotted or skipped William Ruto's events? Because Rigathi Gachagua has always made it his habit of attending William Ruto's events. Why do you think he was missing in action? There is serious fallout in Kenya Kwanza. And that's why today in the dailies, there were reports that Rigathi Gachagua convened a meeting of 12 members of parliament from Kiambu County after UDA National Governing Council meeting at the Bomas of Kenya in his residence in Karen. And of course, there's also the story that 48 members of parliament from Mount Kenya also convened some meeting somewhere at the home of, I think, one of the Kirinyaga MPs somewhere in Thika Greens. But that fallout is yet to emerge publicly. But it's just a matter of time. But let us face the reality. When the fallout between William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta started emerging, when Kenyans started talking about it, nobody wanted to speak about it in Jubilee at that time. In fact, William Ruto tried so hard to prove that Jubilee was united. But Rigathi Gachagua understands three things, and that's why sometimes I consider Rigathi Gachagua as a very sharp politician. The first thing Rigathi Gachagua understands in politics is loyalty. So Rigathi Gachagua has been trying so hard to prove his loyalty to William Samoei Ruto. For those who've been listening to Rigathi Gachagua of late, he's actually going overboard in his attempt to prove his loyalty by overpraising William Samoei Ruto.
Ningetaka tuendelee kumwombea rais wetu, akuwe na hekima, akuwe na ushupavu wa kuongoza Kenya na Afrika, na sana sana tumsaidie na maombi, na wale ambaye tumepewa kazi ya kumshauri aweze kubadilisha uchumi wetu uweze kurudi pahali Rais Mwai Kibaki alituachia. Mtamwombea rais wetu? Rais anajaribu, mimi namwambia halali. Ametoka Amerika, ameenda wapi, anapambana day and night akitutafutia mazuri.
Everything he's doing, everything he's saying, he's attributing it to William Samoei Ruto. He's basically following the footsteps of Nyayo. The former president, Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, tried so hard to prove his loyalty to Jomo Kenyatta. It paid off. He's also trying to follow the footsteps of William Ruto. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto tried so hard to prove his loyalty to Uhuru Kenyatta, to an extent that he was able to create a kind of sympathy in the mountain by appearing to be being betrayed. Rigathi Gachagua is doing that. The second thing Rigathi Gachagua understands is that there are real threats in Kenya Kwanza. That threat is posed by none other than Musalia Mudavadi. And that's why recently when he was talking or speaking before William Ruto somewhere in Mount Kenya, he had to talk about the people of Mount Kenya, their support and betrayal.
And in this region, once we have accepted you, unless you betray us, because we hate betrayal. Betrayal we hate. And that is why when Uhuru Kenyatta betrayed you, tuliwachana naye tukakuja kwako. So, sisi, Your Excellency, let nobody dream and imagine that there can never be a problem. Kama munatafuta shida, mwende mutafute pahali ingine. Hapa Mulima, we are good people, we are honest people, and we respect authority.
And lastly, Rigathi Gachagua also understands the value of Mount Kenya support base to William Samoei Arap Ruto. And that can explain why he decided to convene the meeting in Karen and another one somewhere in Thika Greens. The value of the mountain. In fact, I want to make this prediction that either next week, of course, next week William Ruto will be in Nyanza, but after Nyanza, William Ruto is going to focus again or to refocus again in Mount Kenya. So in this video, I want us to look at why Rigathi Gachagua skipped the tour by William Ruto in Narok and in Langata. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me guys to dive in, and tomorrow I'll start introducing you guys to a website which is called theeducationmonitor.com. You can start checking it out. I have a lot to say about it from tomorrow, so you can check it out. But let us dive in. Why would Rigathi Gachagua skip William Ruto's event while consistently he's been attending those events? In fact, at some point in the beginning, Kenyans were like, why would the president go to a place and the entire machinery follow him? And Kenyans were like, why would we have president in point A, the deputy president the same place, prime cabinet secretary the same place? The truth of the matter is that currently there's a fallout. And that's why the last two events are a bit different. So, but why is Rigathi Gachagua trying to avoid meeting with Ruto or avoid sharing a podium with Ruto? Of course, it can be strategy by the two gentlemen to allow Rigathi Gachagua to go out there and make his own networks, to allow Rigathi Gachagua to be his own man, to move away from the shadows of William Ruto. But the truth of the matter is that, number one, Rigathi Gachagua is expressing his disappointment. The truth of the matter is that if you talk to anybody from the mountain, they feel that they're not getting value for their votes, and that William Ruto is not favoring other regions in terms of development. William Ruto is favoring other regions in terms of appointment, and that some of those regions never even cared about the presidency. So Rigathi Gachagua is politely telling William Ruto that I'm disappointed. My people are disappointed. So that's number one. Number two, there's also the possibility that Rigathi Gachagua is trying to chart his own political path away from William Ruto. For those who followed William Ruto, that's exactly what he did to Uhuru Kenyatta. At some point, people thought that William Ruto was not going to sustain early campaigns. They didn't know that William Ruto was trying to create his own political path. By the time Uhuru realized, William Ruto had already ensured that he had a team, he had a name, he was already a candidate. That is what Rigathi Gachagua is trying to follow, if you ask me. Although for me, I tend to think that Rigathi Gachagua is hurrying. If that's the case, he ought to have waited for the second term and hopefully prayed that William Ruto was going to still returning as the deputy. But of course, you can also put yourself in Rigathi Gachagua's shoe. Rigathi Gachagua fears that Ruto might attempt to lock him out by appointing Musalia Mudavadi as a running mate in 2027. So he has to start doing that now. Number three, there is the upcoming UDA party elections. That party elections will require several things. One of them, resource mobilization. Number two, ability to campaign and convince the delegates. I think Rigathi Gachagua is now focusing on the delegates And that's why he was in Isiolo, he was in Meru. Let's wait for the next place. But I think Rigathi Gachagua doesn't want to take chances. He wants to ensure that his team will eventually win in various seats they are going to contest in, especially in UDA party. And lastly, I also tend to think that Rigathi Gachagua is now trying to create his own networks. Because, let's face it, Rigathi Gachagua became the deputy president courtesy of William Ruto. Up to this stage, I don't think that there's someone somewhere who voted for Ruto because Ruto appointed Rigathi Gachagua. I don't think so. If that were the case, then majority of Kenyans would have voted for Raila because of Martha Karua. I'm sure Rigathi Gachagua understands that as things stand now, he's a nobody minus Ruto. So he's now trying to create his own network. By going to Isiolo, he's creating his own network. By going to Meru, creating his own networks. And probably is coming up with a lineup that is intended to contest in the upcoming party elections. And lastly, I'm also convinced that what Rigathi Gachagua is doing is basically to incite the Kikuyus against any potential betrayal. Direct message to William Ruto. Rigathi Gachagua is waiting for you to betray him. The moment you'll do that, you'll see his wrath. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.